And I'm here with Josh, Howie and Nick Dixon, and kicking things off in this section with The Guardian. And Harry and Meghan have broken up, but it's with Spotify.
Oh, sad times. Prince Harry and Meghan's multi-million-dollar deal with Spotify to end. They got about $20 million, and they made a really good one show from that thing. So this is supposedly mutual agreement, and the Duchess made a show called Archetypes, which was her basically whining with a bunch of rich women, and like how tough their lives were and whatnot.
Well, listen to a bit of a couple of them, and she'd have really interesting guests on, like I think Serena Williams and I can't remember who else. And they'd start talking, and she'd just jump in and start talking about herself. It's very much what I just did there.
Yes, he did it so well. But they're all going on about, now this is in The Guardian, but it's quite, I love how they're sort of going, that it's listeners flocking to her discussions. And also it says here, it was the top podcast charts for in a number of markets. Now that is...
what number is that, 0?
Well, exactly, well, also, but it's also like, are they talking about number of markets in just, we talk about countries here, within age groups, within...
Dumfries Woolworths?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, it's such a ridiculous thing here. If it was a real hit, they'd be like, it's number one in the UK or in anywhere. Yeah. So the idea, number of markets, is just hiding the fact it probably... I'm sure it was pretty big. I think most of the people who listened to it were probably journalists, people involved in the media, who just wanted some tidbits.
And I doubt it was $20 million worth.
Well, this is the main thing, of course, is that it seems like a massive waste of money.
Yeah. I mean, Nick, you've got a successful podcast. What do you think of it?
Oh, thanks. I've got two, well, I actually wrote a sort of joke for a satirical sort of website the other day, like a headline. I was saying Spotify pay Meghan $100 million not to do a podcast. And I thought it was a joke, but it turns out I was pressing it by about a week. This is just what's happening now. They're like, can you stop? And, Meghan will probably style out and say, like, sometimes silence is powerful or something like that. But as you say, it's just not talking. Like, she spoke over guests. It wasn't interesting. On my podcast, one of the praise I get the most is, I love how you just let the guests talk. Like, isn't that obvious? But if you're like a massive narcissist...
You're really lazy.
Well, it's so obvious. It's just you ask good questions, you let them talk. But that's how low the bar is and how narcissistic people are. But people don't want this stuff. They want Joe Rogan, they want truth, they want interesting, controversial stuff. Yeah. They don't want some woke narcissist drivelling on.
Well, this is what she says here. Sorry, she says their company mission is spotlights diverse perspectives and voices, builds community through shared experience, narratives and values. That sounds like headliners to me.
That just sounds like every HR department's slogan.
Mission statement.
It means nothing.
It's a meaningless thing. And all that stuff, I mean, virtue signalling, people like to virtue signal in public, but when you're in the gym or whatever and you've got your headphones in, you don't want to listen to some 3-hour-long virtue signalling winch bag.
And do you know what actually would work, though, weirdly? Harry and Meghan, like, talking about their domestics, and, like, Harry, like, saying, you always push me around, Meghan, stuff like that would be amazing. I mean, why did you do that yesterday? You know what I mean?
I think he should write an autobiography. I think maybe they want to consider making a documentary, and maybe for one of the streaming services. That might be something they might want to do next.
Nick's onto something here. I mean, if we could actually have live footage from inside the house while she's hitting him with a frying pan, I would tune in and watch
Or just manipulating him. Like, just couples therapy with Harry and Meghan. Come on, that's a good podcast.
Yeah.
It's awful, but it's good.
Yeah.
Moving on.